Welcome everybody to our first ASAP session of spring 2024. It's crazy that we're in 2024. So this one's all about financial aid. With us today in the Zoom room, we have Lisa and Jenny from financial aid, and then Corinthi from Dean Student's office, and then Alicia from School of Business. And then me.
I'm from student accounts.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I'm so sorry. Lisa from student accounts. And then my name is Nora. I am from extended learning. So I'm going to pass it off to Lisa and Jenny, and you guys can have the room.
So my name is Jenny Hoffman-Smith, and I'm the Senior Associate Director of Financial Aid at SUNY Oswego. And so since we're recording, for folks that might want to watch this later, I just want to go over some of the things that our office does and kind of the difference between the financial aid office and the student accounts office. So financial aid and student accounts, we work together a lot, right? Because financial aid, we are the folks that are going to be awarding your monies. Student accounts is going to work on the dispersing of that money, making sure that money gets applied toward your bill. So in the financial aid office, we are the folks that can help you with your FAFSA application. We can, if you're a New York State resident, we can help you with New York State TAP applications. We work closely with admissions to award institutional scholarships. So if you're a freshman or a transfer student, we can discuss your eligibility for any merit-based scholarships that we have on campus. But then also, in our office, we focus on the administration of Title IV financial aid. And so what that means is that if the Department of Education is looking for us to collect information from a student at the campus level, because, for example, you were selected for verification, or Department of Ed wants us to verify your citizenship, or there are a number of different reasons why the Department of Ed may want the campus to request additional information, we will collect that from you and then review it to make sure that it's acceptable documentation, and then use that to get your aid applied toward your bill. Verification of educational purpose, where that's going to require us to make a copy of your a government issued ID. So that can be like a New York State ID, learner's permit, driver's license. If you have to make a physical copy of the document to confirm that you are the student and that you're going to be using these funds to pay toward educational expenses. For any folks that might be listening on the recording, financial aid is located in 231 Sheldon Hall. We're open from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday during the semester. We're open 8 to 4 during winter and summer breaks. We have a kind of a condensed office space right now. So we switch off and have a schedule where some folks are still working remotely. Some folks are in the office, but we make sure that we have at least 3 to 4 financial aid folks in person each day to be able to help you through any issues, questions, concerns that you might have. But then also for folks that are working virtually, our director requires our professional staff in the office to have at least 4 hours of what we call office hours each week. So I know for me, I work remotely on Tuesday and Thursday. My office hours are virtual, and they're on Tuesday and Thursday afternoon from 2 to 4. So that means that those spots are open for anyone that has any issues that needs to meet with me. You can book those virtual slots, and then my schedule is free. During that time, I'll send you a calendar invite with a Zoom or a Google Meets link, and then we'll meet virtually. But we encourage walk-ins too. So we see students at any point in the day that we're open, and we do have, like I said, we have at least 3 to 4 folks on campus in our office each day. And the rest of us will work virtually until we get in a space that can accommodate all of us together at the same time again.
Okay, so since Jenny gave a little housekeeping for financial aid, I'll tell you, student accounts is located in Culkin Hall in room 408, which is the 4th floor. We are open from 8 to 4:30 during the semester. Our phone hours are from 9 to 3. If you'd like to have a virtual appointment, we can do that. If you want to come in the office, give us a call. You just send us an email, let us know what you need. So we're available any one of those methods. We have about 6 people that work in our office, but again, we do a mix of we're at home or we're in the office. Most people are in the office. If we deal with billing, your refunds, if you get any bank mobile, basically questions about your bill, we process scholarships, military money. After Jenny's done her thing, we get the money, we process it on the account. Our office certifies for state aid for TAP, Excelsior, other state awards like World Trade Center, and New York State VTA. There's all sorts of state awards. So for anybody who's a transfer student, if you are eligible for state aid, we will require you to give us a copy of your high school transcript. The state of New York states that if we are going to give state aid to any student, we have to have a copy of their New York State high school transcript. Now, if you didn't graduate from a New York State high school, but somewhere else in the United States, then that's okay. Or you have to have a GED, or you have to have graduated from a community college or another transferred in for us to not have to have that high school transcript. So anybody, if you have any question about that, we'll send you an email if that comes up as a need for us, and we'll let you know. Okay. And then it's imperative that you get that to us as soon as possible, or call us with any issues. I'm trying to think anything else here. We do a lot, just like financial aid. Our jobs are not just, all financial aid or all student accounts. Our office helps with financial aid things sometimes. We're all very busy. We don't want to bounce a student around. So if it's something that is manageable for our office to answer, then we will try to do so. As soon as it becomes, too intricate into the financial aid world, then we're going to suggest that you speak to financial aid. But simple questions like, where do I go to sign my promissory note, or, different things like that, our office can do that. And financial aid's the same way. Anything they can answer about the bill, they're going to try and help you the best they can. And when it gets to a point where they can't, then they're going to say, you really need to speak to student accounts. But our offices work very closely together, and the goal is to work as a team to help the students succeed and get their financial aid and their bill taken care of, so that is not a hindrance to your academic success. Okay, so, and we've said this in a few, we had presentations over the weekend, and we said this, we don't know if you're having an issue, okay? We need you to have a voice for yourself and speak up so that we can take the time to help you with whatever it is that we can help you with. And one of the things we talked about this weekend was documentation for if your GPA is too low for federal aid or state aid. It's very important, if you're struggling emotionally or about issues at home or anything like that, that you seek some help, because Jenny and I are going to say to you, if you get into one of those situations, you say it's an extenuating circumstance, we're going to say you need documentation. So you're going to have to, have that medical documentation or whatever it is for your issue. So I just want to throw that out there, is to think about that. We are here to help you, and we really do love our jobs, don't we, Jenny?
We do. Yeah.
We've been doing it for the two of us combined is probably close to 50 years. Okay. So, we've been doing it a long time, and we enjoy it, or we wouldn't still be here. So, give us a chance to help you. Don't just think it's I don't have enough money, it's the end of the world, I'm going to quit. Okay. Because that's not always the case. And every student's different. Don't always listen to other students regarding their bills, because their situation could be completely different than yours, and you could get a false sense of what the bill is or what the issue is. Okay, that's why Jenny and I, are here for you.
So that's a good segue, Lisa. So I was looking at some of the information that folks had submitted to us when they registered, and so I just want to bring up some themes that I thought. So then, if folks go back and listen to the recording, that maybe they have kind of a starting point. So I noticed that there were some questions and issues surrounding Title IV satisfactory academic progress. And so first thing I want to do is let you know where you can find our policy. And so if you receive a notice from the financial aid office that you are not meeting what we call SAP, it stands for Title IV Satisfactory Academic Progress. And so the Department of Education requires each campus to have standards that students are meeting to ensure that they're making progress toward their degree in order to continue to receive Title IV funds, which are any of your federal money. So think direct loans, federal Pell Grant, federal work study, SEOG, any of those awards. And so you can find our SAP policy if you just go to oswego.edu. In the search area, I think the fastest way to find it, you can get it from our site to oswego.edu/financial. But I think the fastest way to find it is just go to oswego.edu and just type in Title IV SAP, and our policy will come right up. And so without getting too far in depth, by the time that you have attempted 61 or more credits, we want you to have a 2.0 GPA. And by the time that you have attempted 61 or greater credits, we want you to have completed at least 67% of the credit hours that you've attempted. So it's tiered up to 60 credit hours. And so I would encourage you to go out and check that policy. And you can always review your SAP status right through your My Oswego account. If there's a situation where you're not meeting SAP for 2 consecutive semesters in a row, you will face financial aid suspension, which means that your Title IV eligibility is revoked. At that point, you do have the opportunity to appeal, but like Lisa said, you will need to have supporting documentation to show what your extenuating circumstances were during the semesters that you were not academically successful. So I can't agree with Lisa enough that if you're facing hardship, make sure that you're using the resources on campus that are available to you. So then if you are not meeting SAP, or aren't meeting progress standards for TAP, and Lisa's office or my office asks you to provide documentation, you can have that readily available and able to supply that to us. So I wanted to bring up SAP. The other thing I wanted to bring up was aid for students that are part-time. I saw that question from a couple of people. So in terms of federal financial aid, and we'll talk about student loans first, you can use a federal student loan as long as you are registered for at least 6 credit hours. So what we would do is adjust what we call your cost of attendance. That's financial aid terminology for the billable and non-billable expenses that we expect you to incur for a particular semester. We're going to adjust that based on your credit hours and then determine your eligibility for the loan based on that credit hour amount as well. But you can receive a federal student loan for as little as 6 credits. If you qualify for a federal Pell Grant, which is income-based, it's a need-based grant. You can receive Pell for as little as 3 credit hours, but keep in mind your eligibility for Pell is on a sliding scale. So the lower your income, the higher your Pell award. And as you get up into kind of the income cutoff for Pell Grant, there are situations where you could qualify at full-time, but maybe not at part-time. So if you'd like to discuss your eligibility for federal student loan as a part-time student, Pell Grant as a part-time student, contact our office. if you want to talk about New York State aid as a part-time student, you would contact Lisa's office because they certify New York State aid. In terms of financial aid and the questions that we received from the folks that said they were interested tonight, I believe those were the common themes for financial aid. There was one question about emergency financial services, and so the Dean of Students office is here, and so Kranti, maybe you could talk about the Dean of Students office and what the
Maybe I could
emergency
borrow my
funding
friend's
process
copy.
looks like.
Yep. So our office, we have something called emergency funds for students. So usually, we get many applications for emergency funding. What we do is we see what the emergency is, what the need is, and then we have an interview with the Office of Dean of Students, and they will try to help students in need with this thing. So right now you can see our application on the oswego.edu/Dean of Students, where you can find a section which says emergency funding, and it is a very easy process. If students in need are looking for, I mean, if students struggling with any financial help besides financial aid or student account in all these departments, Office of Dean of Students also has this one thing. A lot of students has been benefited from this in the last semesters, and then yeah, continuing this, and then students are still welcome to drop the applications if in need.
I wanted to pop in here, not about the emergency fund, but it made me think when Jenny was talking about coming to our office for the state aid. There's something else that I want to bring up is if you're thinking about making an academic decision with your advisor where you're repeating a past class, past meaning you got a D, a C, a B, you passed it, and your advisor's saying, hey, if you retake this D, maybe you could bring your GPA up a little bit. If you get any sort of state aid regarding that, you need to come to our office after you've spoken to your advisor to see what the financial implication can be. Because for both Excelsior and TAP, you must have 12 credit hours of non-repeated courses each semester. If you fail a class, you can repeat it. It doesn't matter if you fail a class, but if you've passed the class and got a D or better, you have to talk to us, because I don't want a situation where you're 12 credit hours, you're repeating a class to get your GPA up. However, we won't count that repeated class. So that makes you only 9 credit hours for TAP when you have to be 12 credit hours at a minimum. Because TAP says if you've passed the class and got a passing grade, we're not going to pay for it again, regardless of the reason that you're doing it, unless it's a major that has a C- average as a requirement, but there are specific classes that they require a C- or better. So you can't just say, if it's, for example, English 101, oh, my major requires a C- or better, so I got a D in that, I can repeat it. Don't make those decisions on your own. Please come to our office and discuss it, because it is a very sad day when we have a student who doesn't come and discuss it, and they find out that although they made that academic decision, the financial implications to what they did were not in their best interest. Now, that does not mean if your advisor tells you to do something and it doesn't help you financially, you're not to do it. Your advisor is there to academically advise you. We want you to listen to them, but we want you to know if you're making an academic decision, what that financial implication is. For example, even Excelsior, you have to have 30 credits per year. And if you have high school banked classes, great, that helps. But for the most part, a lot of students don't. And you might have to make up some classes in winter or in summer, and sometimes on your own dime, depending on what type of aid you're eligible for, if any. So please think about that before adding, dropping, withdrawing from a class. it might be in your best interest to withdraw from the class because you're not doing so well to your GPA, but it's not necessarily in your best interest for aid. So just check with us first. Every student is different. So I can't give you a blanket, this is what will happen. Every student is different because it depends on how much TAP they've had, what year of school they're in, where their progress is at. All those things are in play for that. So please, we are a resource for you. Please come over and talk to us, call us, email us, tell us what you're planning on doing so that we can best guide you so that you make the best decision that won't hurt you.
For all the offices that are on the call, since it's being recorded, is there a way, like a best way to reach you? Like, would it be email or phone or drop in? What would you prefer?
For student accounts, I'm going to say email and phone are usually the best way to get a hold of. And I'm not saying me in particular, best way to get an answer in the office, because a lot of students, when we do these presentations, I'll be honest, they want to talk to either me or, maybe even Jenny, for example, because that's the face and the name they're hearing. But we're not always available, whether it be if we're in a meeting or something. And I would not want a student to miss out on getting some help because they only want to speak to us. I have a lot of faith in my staff, and I feel that they are very qualified to answer questions. And if they're not sure of the answer, they will come and find out. They're not just going to make something up just to give you an answer. So, they can be trusted to help you. And I would say the same thing about Jenny's people, quite frankly. I mean, it doesn't always have to be her. It's, her staff can answer those questions as well. So I just don't want a student to think it's only me or Jenny that they can come and get help from, even though we are more than happy to help you. But if we're not there, some students will walk away, and I really don't want to see that.
With the Office of Dean of Students, you can either walk in, call, or email us. I mean, it's very convenient. So one of the associate deans or assistant deans will be available many times. If not, they can schedule an appointment for the same day or for the next an hour or two, within the next hour or two. And yeah, many times students just walk in with a problem, with an emergency, and then right away they will talk to the student if they are available. So it happens on the same day many times if students are trying to schedule an appointment, but if not, you can also email us, call us for anything.
And for financial aid, I think the best way to contact us could be different for every student. Like we say that all the time, right? Like every student situation is different, but also the way that we handle a student that needs to have one-on-one help with, for example, let's just say like doing entrance counseling and master promissory note. If they need one-on-one help, we're going to have you make an appointment. So then we have a dedicated person available to sit down with you at a computer to get done what you need to get done. If you're just contacting us because you want an update on your verification status or a SAP appeal or documentation that you've submitted, I would say give us a call or email us. But if you have a more complex situation, make an appointment and speak with one of our professional staff. We can take the time that way. We can block off half an hour or an hour of our schedule to dedicate just to you. If you're calling and emailing, you could be, especially depending on the time of year, like if it's right before the fall semester or right before the spring semester, it can take us more than 24 hours to get back to you just because of the volume of requests that we're receiving. So depending on the complexity of what you need, let that be your guide. And remember, you can request appointments with us right through Starfish, through our website. You can find our email addresses. If you know you do need to speak to a specific person, you can email us. I know personally for me, the best way to contact me is through email. Trying to get a hold of me by phone sometimes can be tough. So I would say email or make an appointment with me. For some of our other staff that aren't, in as many meetings or pulled in different directions, it's easiest to just pick up the phone and give them a call. So again, contact us in whatever way you see fit. Just keep in mind that our volume especially increases a lot before the fall semester and before the spring semester. If you're trying to contact us during winter break, there's hardly any wait time at all. If you're trying to contact us, in May after graduation, usually it's pretty slow for us during that time. But everything is kind of cyclical with financial aid. So we'll have really, really busy times, and then we'll have slower times, and really busy times and slower times. So I will say whatever works best for you, but keep in mind, if you need one-on-one help, make an appointment.
Perfect. While we were all talking, it reminded me that the scholarships application is out as well, and a lot of those are due in February. So definitely apply for scholarships that you're eligible for the 24-25 academic year, because that is very helpful to win those scholarships, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, it seems like we're kind of wrapping up. Musa, I'm not sure if you have any questions that we can answer for you.
Yes, I have a question about the scholarship. What are the criteria for to apply for a scholarship?
I'm so sorry. Can you just repeat the question? I couldn't hear the beginning of it.
They said, what are the criteria to apply for scholarship?
A lot of the scholarships have different criteria. So they're usually set up by a foundation or a specific like honorary. There's a lot of different scholarships. So there's a whole page listing the scholarship, and it has the criteria. So we'll put that in the show notes for this recording. And then also, I'm sure you can talk to your advisor, and they would be happy to send you the link as well. All right, any final thoughts, folks?
Nope.
I don't think
Well,
so.
just, thanks for, listening to this recording if that's what you're doing. And, just like I said, please come to us if you need help. We're here for you to help you. I mean, we don't always have a yes as an answer, but at least we can give you some guidance, if anything.
Right.
Thanks for joining. It was
Yeah.
great. A lot of good information.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and have a good evening.
Yeah.